Hello Eurovision friends, thank you so much for coming to my channel Eurovision Histories. Today I want to talk about the Latvian entry for Eurovision 2025, which is Tautumeitas with Burman Laimi, the first time in over 20 years that Latvia sends a song completely in their national language. And if you've been to this channel, you know that I love songs in national languages, so I couldn't be happier about that part. In this video, I will try to predict how Latvia will do at Eurovision, whether they can qualify. We'll have a look at your votes and comments from the community tab of my channel as well. But first of all, as per usual, I will give you my own personal honest opinion about this song, looking at different elements of the song and performance, giving points from 1 to 5. And in the end, we'll also have a point total for the song. Now, I always start with the lyrics of the songs, and in this case, there aren't that many lyrics because they are repeated over and over again, which usually is something that I might criticize, but in this case, it makes a lot of sense because the song is a bit of a chant with references, I guess, to pagan traditions. And so repeating it over and over again makes sense for this kind of song. But let's have a look at the lyrics that we do have. We have curses and hexes, never can they ruin me, never, never, never can they ruin me. So with curses and hexes, you have a bit of a connection to maybe pagan traditions, Latvian folklore as well. And this is a chant for happiness. That's the translation of the title. So never, never, never can they ruin me. They're kind of chanting to evoke their own happiness, I guess. Then we also have others are making a bridge of steel. I'm helping an oak to grow. The bridge of steel turns to rust. My oak grows ever greener. So there you have the importance of a connection to nature. Again, I think referencing Latvian folk traditions. They're almost like forest spirits in the performance as well, which completely works with these kinds of lyrics. And maybe it's also a bit of an environmentalist message in there as well. So nature prevails, the oak grows ever greener, while man-made objects like the bridge of steel turns to rust in the end. And that might also mean that the ancient traditions are something that prevails within culture, while more modern things, man-made things, might turn to rust in the end. So I quite like this message. And then I didn't know my own happiness until I met my misery is how the song ends. I think a very deep message in there as well, because just being happy all the time doesn't work. You need to have experienced sadness and misery to really appreciate that what happiness is, what feeling good about yourself means. And I always, when I read something like that, I think of the show The Good Place, where for over several seasons, I don't remember how many, they try to reach the good place, so paradise. And once they get there, they realize that everyone is happy all the time, and that makes them miserable, because if you feel happy all the time, it's not something that special anymore. So not that many lyrics, but a lot of deep messages in them. So I really, really like that. You might have guessed. And so I gave 5 out of 5 points for these lyrics. Now, for the voices in this case, I think they are really, really incredible. The harmonies that they create with their voices are really from another world, which fits the theme of the song, obviously. The chorus especially is so warm and inviting, and I love the contrast between that chorus and the harmonies between their voices and the slightly harsher and colder verses as well. These colder verses make the harmonies in the chorus stand out even more and make them feel even warmer and cozier. So I love that. They create a beautiful soundscape with their voices. And if you really think about it, the melody of the song is completely created by their voices and the harmonies in their voices. And that's something that is not easy to do. And they replicated it really, really well in the live performance as well. I didn't hear any off notes or anything like that. So very impressive. And that is why I gave 5 points for the voice as well. Their performance is also very, very beautiful. They seem to represent these forest spirits moving between worlds. The chemistry between them is really, really striking, I think. Very hard to reproduce that in a live performance, but they really manage it. They have a certain attitude that makes them look like they are these forest spirits, but also a certain vulnerability, and they really strike the balance between these two things very well. The choreography is incredible and very synchronized as well. And some of them seem a little bit nervous in some parts, but nothing major. And so in the end, I gave 4.5 points for the performance. The staging to me is really a piece of art. Some incredible visuals from the rain effect to the softer colors, and then also the black and white with almost strobe light effects. Really beautiful, and it really enhances the music, the harmonies, the melody. And that is something that you want from a visual concept, and they really managed that. The colder colors go with the colder and slightly harsher harmonies during the verses, and the softer colors really enhance the beautiful harmonies during the chorus, and that makes it hit home to me even more than it otherwise would. The curtain that they have really represents moving between the different worlds, maybe, and it adds an interesting dynamic to the whole performance because you can do a lot of things being behind the curtain, in front of the curtain, reaching through the curtain. Really beautiful as well. I love that. And it just creates a very magical, ethereal atmosphere, and that is what a song like this needs. I don't really know how to do the staging any better, and that is why I gave 5 out of 5 points. I think the outfits are beautiful as well, representing these spirits moving between the worlds. So yeah, I can't really do anything else but give this 5 points. Now, for the song, this isn't a song for any situation. It's an atmospheric song, ethereal song that you have to experience. It's a piece of art. It's not really the kind of song that wants to be catchy or anything like that. Doesn't have a natural pop structure, but that makes it stand out. Again, the melody is driven by the voices, and I love this contrast between the colder, harsher harmonies during the verses and the very soft, beautiful harmonies during the chorus, which makes the chorus hit home even more than it otherwise would. I also love the modernish beat that is under these harmonies, overlayered with these harmonies. And the lights, by the way, in the staging also fit with the beat, which enhances the experience even more. And it's not the kind of song that I would listen to on a daily basis, but it is the kind of song that I will go to and watch the performance along with it. It's not really a song that I would add to my playlist, maybe, but I really like it, and that is why I gave 4 out of 5 points for the song. Now, the song counts 3 times, the staging counts twice, and that gives us an overall rating, you can already see it, of 4.5 points for the Latvian entry Burman Laimi. By the way, for the lyrics, I maybe forgot to mention it's completely in Latvian, and that's a plus for me as well. Now, before I give you my prediction for Latvia at Eurovision, do subscribe to this channel. Only a third of you watching this video are, and more videos like this will come out for other songs. I'll do predictions, news videos, lots of stuff to look forward to, so do subscribe. Now, for Latvia's chances of qualifying, they of course have a bit of a checkered history with Eurovision and qualifying at Eurovision especially. So let's look at where they are, in which semifinal they are. They are in semifinal 2 in the first half. At least on paper, this semifinal seems a bit easier to qualify from than semifinal 1. A lot of the heavy hitters that always qualify are in semi 1. And you have Lithuania in the semifinal, Britain as well, Ireland, which usually vote for Latvia. So that's a bit of a plus for them. Finland might be interested in a song like this, maybe also Denmark. So now let's look at the historic qualification rate. Unfortunately, Latvia has an only 30% qualification rate in the last 10 editions, but they did manage to qualify last year with Dons, and maybe, hopefully, this can continue this qualification streak, which hasn't been going on for that long. But I think that this is the kind of song that could qualify, scrape through. I don't think this will qualify as one of the top, maybe not even 6 or 7 songs in the semifinal, but I do think that this can stand out. There is an audience for this kind of music and this kind of experience as well. And the harmonies are just so beautiful that I think it will stay in people's heads. And I'm kind of manifesting just to qualify because I really want Latvia to be able to perform in the final. I've seen a lot of comparisons of this with Ulveham from Norway last year, or also EAEA from Spain, which didn't do all that well, especially in the televote. I can see that connection. These were also songs that, created an atmosphere. And if you don't like the atmosphere, you're not going to vote for it. However, I do think that this one is a bit less jarring. Like EIA and also Ulveham had vocals that were very particular, very jarring. And here the vocals are very harmonious and soft. And I think that might work in its favor with the televote audience, which is why I think that it will qualify. I mean, Ulveham also qualified. So maybe that's a good sign for Latvia. In the final, this is a bit of a positive prediction, maybe, but I think that in the televote, this could do 15th to 20th, because I do think that it will stand out with the beautiful voices, with this very good staging as well. It will be memorable for people. So I hope that it can do that. And for the jury, we've seen, for example, with EAEA and Ulveham and other songs that have traditional elements, are in a national language, that the juries don't really go for these kinds of songs. But I think the juries cannot overlook these harmonies that they create, the beautiful voices that they have. And so I'm predicting 10th to 20th. It kind of depends whether they focus more on the voices or more on national language, traditional elements. If they focus on the latter, it might be closer to 20th. If they focus on the voices, it might be closer to a top 15 result. And then my prediction overall would be 14th to 19th in the final. If you have a different prediction, let me know in the comments as per usual. And before I let you go, I also have your votes and comments from the community tab of my channel. 24% of you gave this 5 points, 41% of you gave it 4 points, like me, so we kind of agree here. 23% gave it 3 points or stars, and 12% gave it 1 or 2 stars. Now let's have a look at some of your comments. Eurovision Obsessed, I love the nickname here, says the live performance was absolutely magical. That's a good adjective to describe the performance. The staging, the atmosphere, their vocals, everything, really. I think Latvia will qualify, but I hope the regular audience will understand it enough to get top 15. Also love that they took a risk and that they sing in Latvian. I couldn't agree more. Philomena says, I love the song, but I fear this is a non-qualifier. Could happen if the general audience doesn't get the atmosphere. Surale says, I wrote a comment yesterday, but I already changed my mind overnight. Now I'm 100% on board with this. It's stunning. Amazing job, Latvia. That's some magic. So maybe this is a song that grows on people, which of course isn't that great for Eurovision because most people will only hear it once at the semifinal. But still, it's great that it grew on you. Then Big Tree says, I'm sorry, but I don't see how this is remotely entertaining. It's boring and too old-fashioned. Respect for Latvia for sending something different, though. Well, Big Tree, I think they're chanting for you for the big oak tree. So, well, I guess not today for you, but you have respect for Latvia, so that's nice. Rowdy says, this strikes me as exactly the type of entry that would do great with the fandom and make it to the top of a lot of people's list, but flop with the general public, like Ulveham and Ea. Yeah, I mentioned that as well. ESC Oscar says, Latvian back in Eurovision after 21 years. These girls are lovely and definitely had the best performance tonight. I'm wishing them luck for Eurovision. Latvia has good chances of qualifying this year. And last but not least, I have Silent Station. Wow, I've been extremely busy lately, so I haven't had time at all to follow any national finals, but even without knowing other songs in the selection, I'm sure that Latvia made the right choice. Mesmerizing, authentic, beautiful. Now that's the Eurovision I love. Paldies, dear neighbors. That is also the Eurovision I love, much more than some other songs that were chosen this weekend. So thank you, Latvia. Do let me know in the comments if you have a different opinion. about the song, about its chances of qualifying, and do subscribe to the channel, and then I'll see you for my next video. See you then, and bye bye.